Hello, hello, hello. Do you ever look at the food storage magazines and drool? I have been looking at those magazines for years and I'm thinking I would really love to have some freeze-dried blueberries and I would really love to have freeze-dried mango. I would really love to have freeze-dried strawberries. I would really love to have freeze-dried meats. But when they're 25 and 35 and 42 and $43 a can, that's just dreams. I would someday like to be able to go click, click, click on the internet and just order whatever I want. But so I'm not the only one in this boat. I know not everybody has pockets full of money that are just crying out, spend me on food storage, spend me on, spend me on food storage. So where do you start? And you've seen me bring my kitchen into the living room before, and I'm going to do it again. But hopefully this one won't be 10 minutes long like the one about the tornado and one about Mama chasing the bad guy. I don't know how long those were, but they were long. I don't like 10-minute videos. I like short little videos. So if you're not sick to death of my topics, then you're in for a treat. No, not really. Okay, so where do you start? If you don't have a lot of money to spend, these are, again, I'm going to show you the things that I spend money on because I think you get a lot of bang for the buck. Rather than to spend 30, 40, $45 on one can of it's gotta be something really special for me to want to spend 40 some odd dollars for a can of anything that they could put in a number 10 can. 14 cups of almost anything would have it. I just can't do that. Not right now. Maybe someday, but it hasn't happened to me yet. I just keep looking at the catalogs of the wish book. It's a wish book. So what kind of things can you start with? Well, one of my favorite things, a couple of my favorite things here. You can get a jar of peanut butter usually on sale for $1 or $1.25. What more could you ask for? I don't know if I can read this label or not, what the protein content is. I can see this. I should have looked at it first. I'm sorry. Looks like 7 grams in a tablespoon. Oh, 2 tablespoons? Well, that's not bad. Anyways, it's protein. Your kids will eat it. You can put it in cookies. You can put it in no bakes. What you want to focus on is some nutritional quality that the children will eat. So if you put this in no bake cookies, they'll eat it. If you put it in peanut butter cookies, they're probably going to eat it. There's other kinds of things you can bake. You could put it in a cake. You could have peanut butter icing on a chocolate cake. You can do a lot with peanut butter. Peanut butter fudge. There's almost no end to what you can do with a jar of peanut butter. Having said that, we'll move on to macaroni and cheese. Most children will eat macaroni and cheese if it's not day after day. And I think I was still buying, maybe not this exact brand, but a store brand for 39 cents a box not long ago. I buy them in multiples, so sometimes I lose track and forget. One of my other things that I think is a really good value for your dollar is one of these big, I think it's 42 ounces of quick oats. $2, $1.99. A couple different stores I found it for $1.99. And that was the regular price. It wasn't a sale price. Oatmeal cookies, chocolate chip oatmeal cookies, no bakes. Put it in muffins for up to half of your flour. Is probably a third would be better, but up to half of your flour you can replace it in a muffin recipe. But the protein content is pretty close between calorie for calorie between white flour and oatmeal. Oatmeal has more fiber in it, I think. To go back and look at that. Pretty sure it has more fiber in it. These little chicken salad and cracker kits. I don't know if your kids would like these or not, but this is lunch for me. This is lunch for me a lot of days. It's $1. It's got 4 or 5 crackers in it, depending upon the company. They make tuna salad. I like this. It's not quite enough for a meal. You might want a piece of fruit with it. You might want something with it. Piece of bread, piece of fruit, I don't know, something with it. But for $1, it's rip roaring ready to go. I refrigerate it and it's ready to go. One of the other things that I like that I made a couple weeks ago, and I have mentioned this one before, this is a cheesy hash brown skillet dinner, and I did not follow the directions. I ignored the directions and mixed the milk and water and margarine, whatever, together. and put a can of ham in it. It was $1. So this was 99 cents. The ham was $1. So for $2 you got a meal that if you portioned it out, and gave each person a piece of bread and some of this and a vegetable or two and a serving of fruit, you could probably serve 5 or 6 people. And if they were children, you could probably serve more than that. We can kill almost the whole box in a meal, but it wouldn't have to be that way if you were trying to conserve. You wouldn't have to use it up that quick. I mean, you could feed more people with it. Evaporated milk is handy to have so that you can do some of those baking things. You can make pudding from your pudding mixes. I use this when I make instant mashed potatoes. I was going to bring my box of potatoes in here, but I forgot to grab that. But for $1, I don't like to name store names, but there's a store they've got 9,000 of them in the country. Their colors are black and yellow, so you probably know what store it is. I had no idea that there were more of these than there are Walmarts. But they have quite a few things for $1 or under. They have a box of potato flakes for $1, or there's a No Frills grocery chain that's got, I don't know, they've got more than 700 now, I'm sure, of those. 9,002 of the black, 9,000, over 9,000 of the black and yellow store. And years ago, I know they were at 500 and something for the No Frills grocery store. So you can, a bigger box at the No Frills grocery store for a little over $1. So I'll get the weights on them at some point in time and give you that. I think gravy mix goes a long way. If you had a can of beef chunks and gravy mix and mashed potatoes and a vegetable, that would make a nice meal. A lot more food for your money than a $40 can of anything, anything else. We use these, I said before, these baked beans. It's a good quality source of protein. It's very filling. It holds you for quite a while. We use this with browned hamburger and a little bit of brown sugar. I used to put sauteed onions and salt and ketchup and mustard in it. I just basically brown the beef, drain the fat out of it, put maybe I use 3 or 4 of these cans at once with about a pound of burger and maybe 1/4 or 1/3 of a cup of brown sugar, maybe a little bit more, but it's really good. We eat it with corn muffins. That's another thing. I didn't bring my corn muffin mix out here. I'm trying to think. I paid 30 cents, I think, for those the last time I bought them, and 47 for a different one at a different store. Some kind of cleaning products, of course. This can be used in a pinch. It could be used for washing clothes. It could be, of course, dishes is what it's for, but it could be used for washing clothes. It could be used for washing floors. You could wash your hair with it if you had to. It's not terrible. Could wash your hair. I have done it. Wash your hair. And then, you know, some luxury foods like the cheesecake mixes. I really enjoyed making lemon pies not long ago, and I don't know if I said it on here, but I'm going to make another lemon pie with the powdered eggs. I made this with powdered eggs and it came out very nice. I would have added a little more water than I did. And then this is just a bag of flour, but a 25-pound bag of flour would be a good thing to grab if you have some place to keep it and you think you can use it quick enough. If you don't think you can use it quick enough, you can parcel it out into Ziploc bags and store it in your freezer, and it'll be just fine that way. It will keep at room temperature quite a while. I have kept flour for longer than a year, I know. I used to have a really nice flour bucket. It's gone. My husband used it for something else and it's no longer suitable as a flour bucket. It has no bottom in it anymore. At any rate, 25-pound bag of flour is going to probably, I haven't checked the price in a long time. The lowest I have seen it over the years was 7 something and the highest was around 11. It may be higher than that now. So you can spend your money any which way you want, but these are some things that I think are really valuable for me, for us, very valuable things. No worry about rotating them. They're going to get rotated and used for sure. The flour, you can easily use it up in, well, I gave recipes in an earlier video for French bread, which is easy. It's no fail. It's an excellent bread. It doesn't use up any oil, so it's a great storage recipe. And I gave a basic recipe for muffins, and then a cookie mix that has a cookie recipe that has half oatmeal and half white flour in it. It really makes a lot of cookies for what you put in it. I have used as little as a half of a they're not 12-ounce bags anymore because they're making them smaller, but a half of that size bag of chocolate chips with the whole recipe and or butterscotch chips or what have you comes out just fine. Okay, now I'm being redundant, not wanting to be the queen of redundancy or get the Captain Obvious award. I'm going to quit. So just go take a look at your store and see, you know, what you can get for cheap. But these are some really good places to start. The milk, the beans, and the peanut butter, and I do have cheese powder too, are all inexpensive sources of protein. You don't have to spend a fortune. And those little cans of ham are $1, and tuna fish is not that expensive, so you have lots of great options. And I hope this wasn't just a rerun of other videos. I have a whole list of things I wanted to do, but this one was pressing on my mind if you don't have a whole lot of money to work with where you can begin. So the important thing is to begin. Goodbye. Hope I didn't overstay my welcome. Goodbye.